If you're about to jump on a cruise as a family and you're not 100% sure what to expect, well, in today's video, we're going to share some of the secrets we've learned cruising that may help you improve the experience you have while you're on board for you and your family. So I'm Jimmy.
And I'm Pauline.
And we are from Families on the Rise, and we help families like yourself have awesome extended vacations, whether it's like cruising or flying to a place and really having a good time. Now, to be fair, a lot of these tips are specific to Royal Caribbean, but a lot of cruise lines are pretty much the same. Princess and Royal Caribbean are owned by the same company, so the same principles apply. You might just have slight tweaks to what we're talking about here. The first one we have here is about internet. If you wanted to have multiple devices connected at the same time, the packages make it look like you have to have multiple devices, when in reality, you can have one internet package for the whole cruise that will look after the whole family in one hit. And the way it's able to do that is that the way the internet works, and this is on Royal Caribbean, I'm not sure about the other providers, but Royal Caribbean has Starlink and high-speed internet, and it's unlimited. So what we do is anytime I'm using a device, it means that Pauline can't be using a device. If Pauline wants to use the internet, all she has to do is log in through our account and kick me off, and then she can have internet as well. So it shows that you only really need one account to be able to use the internet across multiple devices. And this is something we weren't sure about, because I actually got the internet from my laptop because I have to do work while we're on the cruise, and I was really concerned about that. So I went up to the VOOM, which is what Royal Caribbean's internet. I went to their station and asked them, like, can I do this? And they're like, yep. Not a lot of people know this, but yeah, you can have multiple devices. You just got to disconnect one and reconnect another one. So that's a really handy advice, because I've seen families here with 2 or 3 connections for their teenage kids, when really they could have just done one and then picked times to be on the net.
Yep, because you can still actually use the Royal app for free without having internet while on the cruise. So you can have multiple people that you can chat to on the cruise. So let's say your teenager finds some friends, they can add them into their list on their app to chat to, and they don't actually need the internet package to be doing that while they're on the cruise. All right, so this is going to be a big one for families, because as you know, when you have more than 1 or 2 people, when you get to 4 people, it becomes a lot of dirty clothes within a day. Now, we found out before we got on Royal Caribbean that they do not have a public laundry. We've been on Carnival before, and we could do our laundry just down in a laundromat by using coins or whatever the system was. But Royal Caribbean do not have that option. You have to pay for laundry. And when I found out it was nearly $26 per bag in US dollars to do laundry, there was no way we could have.
And we're not talking a big bag, right?
We're not talking a big bag either. They give you a bag and you have to stuff in as much as you can. Also, in that bag, you're not allowed to put pants. So pants have to be done separately and then per item. So I just couldn't believe how expensive it was. Now, there is always the option for washing them in the shower while you're in there. There's a basin. You know, some suites come with bathtubs. It just depends on what room you have. But we have gotten through by either telling the kids to wash their stuff in the shower, or I just do a quick small load in the basin, and I brought a bit of laundry liquid with me. And then we have a portable washing line that we can hang up in our room, and that dries our clothes, because your clothes will dry pretty quickly with the aircon on, as we're in an internal room. Aircon's always on, or if you're on a balcony, string it up on the balcony, it'll be dry in a few hours. So just be careful that laundry might cost you.
Because you've got to remember, you're not trying to win a beauty contest on this cruise. You're a family, right? You don't need to dress up every night. You know, you're just here to have a good time with your family. So, if your clothes maybe aren't as clean as they could be, it's not the end of the world. You're mostly in the pool anyway. It doesn't matter. So you're covered in chlorine most of the time, so you're not getting bumped.
No one tells you off for wearing the same shirt a couple of days in a row. It really is your holiday. So don't be going, having to wash your clothes every single day. Rewear them.
Well, you'd imagine as a family at home, you probably do washing 3 or 4 times a week. Yeah. That's $25 a pop. That could add, $1,600 to a cruise like this. That's a lot of money, considering you're just getting clothes to that. So washing yourself, hang them up. Yes, it's going to be arduous. Get the kids involved. Get them to help. It'll get done.
Tell them to wash them in the shower.
Okay, so the next secret they don't tell you on the cruise lines that really confused us until we actually started cruising was that you don't need to dress up for the dining rooms. Now, there is cruise lines where you do, like the Virgin cruises, but your kids won't be going on that anyway. It's an adult cruise. Queen Mary, some of these more formal cruise lines, but your Royal Caribbeans, your Carnivals, your Princess, no one's going to bat an eyelid if you're in the dining room in a pair of slacks and a tee and a shirt or a polo shirt, even on formal nights. You know, again, this is my thoughts on it, is like, you're not here to impress other people. You're here to have time with your family and have a good time with your family. So it doesn't really matter if people go, oh, wow, they're not dressed up formally. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect you. So they won't ever turn you around because it's you're not dressed up for a theme night. You will just go there, eat, and do your thing and be like that. But we were genuinely concerned about this before we jumped on. We were like, what's the etiquette? Can we go to dining room and have dinner if we're not dressed up? And we come to realize that it's a non-issue, and we probably could have left a few clothes at home given that. Now, is it fun to dress up in the themes? Of course, you know, you dress your family up in a theme and everyone, you know, you look good and everyone has a good time, but just realize that you don't have to do it. There's no obligation. Now, the other thing I wanted to add to that, a little bonus, is dining room reservation. So when you go on a cruise, they're going to give you a reservation time for your dining room. Let's say it's, for instance, it's 7:30, like it is for us on this cruise.
Yeah.
7:30. But you know what it's like with families and kids. They get hungry.
They get hungry, and they get hungry early because they've been swimming in the pool all day.
There's no harm in going up to the reservations counter in front of the dining rooms and asking if they can push your reservation forward. What I've found on cruises as a family is they do everything they can to accommodate you because they want more families on these cruises because we spend money. You know, you got kids that want things and bits and pieces. So they want more families on these cruises because they can fill out the cabins better, 4-berth cabins. So go up there and ask. There's no harm in asking for dinner time. Worst case scenario, you have to go to the pizzeria or the buffet and have a meal early and then have your formal dining time. But if you do like eating in the dining room like we do, because the meals are really nice in there, go and ask. You're not going to get yelled at. Nothing's going to happen. In worst case scenario, if they can't fit you in, they're going to say no and you go about your life.
So partners, husbands and wives, if you have kids and you want to have a nice, quiet dining time, I would suggest to pick the 7:30 dining slot. Then what you do is, this secret tip, you go and feed the kids in the buffet, or if they want pizza, or if they want another cafe, whatever it is, go and find them some food and then check them into the kids club at 7 o'clock, and then mosey on down to your 7:30 time slot at the dining room, and you can have that nice quiet dinner by yourself where you do not have to cut up someone's food. You do not have to worry about if they're eating their dinner or not. You can sit there and you can have a peaceful dinner without them.
And we only just learned this tip yesterday, and we tried it last night, and it was absolutely amazing to just sit down with other adults and have adult conversations without having to cut steak up or like Liam trying to dance in the middle of the dining room. So we're going to do that more often. We'll feed the kids a little bit earlier, and then it gives you a reason. Because what we found with the 7:30 time slot is there's an hour that you don't really have anything on. So now we're going to feed the kids then, put them in kids club, which they enjoy, and then go and have a dinner on our own.
Yep.
So speaking about food, one thing, you know, if you're like us or you're like me, you're not 100% sure what you can and can't do, but you like pushing the boundaries. One of the things you can do, and it's pretty well-known secret, but like if you're new to cruising, you won't know this, is that you can ask for food to be brought back to your room, or you can ask in the dining room. Let's say, for instance, you had a steak and you wanted another steak or it wasn't big enough. You can't ask for it to be taken away so you can take it to your room and eat it later. There's no issue with going to the buffet, taking a heap of food and then just walking back to your room in the ship and eating it. Or taking a heap of food from the buffet and going out onto the deck like we are and eating it out on the deck. There's no rules around that. I don't know if it's actively encouraged, but like they also don't care. As long as you're eating and spending money, that's all the cruise lines want. So if to keep you happy, it means they have to give you a second meal or third meal, they're making it in the back end when you're at the casino or you're buying alcohol. So you got to remember that you've already paid for everything, right, on the cruise. So you've paid for all the food, you paid for all the entertainment. Your job is to get that money's worth, that in my opinion. So like if it means that you put on 5 kilos because you eat 2 meals a day, extra meals a day, well, so be it. Then go to the gym on board, lose it when you get back. But you want to make sure you get the most out of your trip, because even though a cruise might be 10 days or 8 days, it goes quick.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you'll be back in the grind, in the monotony. So don't be afraid to take extra meals. Don't feel guilty about it. That's what they're paid to do. And they'll be happy to accommodate anything that you may be wanting to do.
And especially, I just want to add this, if you're a family and your kids love milk and maybe you still need to, give them milk during the night, you can actually take the little cartons. They have milk out pretty much all the time, and you can also ask for it. You can take those cartons of milk back to your room, put them in the fridge. You can take cookies and snacks and all that kind of stuff, because kids don't get hungry at the times that adults do. Like they could graze all day, and you might be in the room just trying to rest, and they go, Mum, I'm hungry. And you've got a stash of cookies, or you've got a stash of, an apple or a pear or something from the buffet. You are more than welcome to take all of this stuff back to your room, put it in the fridge, put it on your bench, whatever it is, and you then don't have to make that walk from your room all the way back to the buffet or the dining room to get something. If your kids still need a floaty or a life jacket or anything like that at the swimming pool, Royal Caribbean actually supply on board at every swimming pool all different sizes of life jackets. They go from the really, really small ones to quite large ones, and there's always a stock of them. They never run out. If they do, you can always ask the staff member and they'll go and find you one. So there really is no need to pack all those floaties and bits and pieces that your kids might need, because there are always cool floaties and life jackets here on board. And that also brings you to the point is you do not need to pack your beach towels or quick drying towels or anything like that. You can check out as many pool towels from the towel station during the day to keep everyone dry, to use them as a blanket, to use them as a pillow, whatever you do with them on the pool deck. And then you just check them back in at the end of the day, no questions asked.
Yep. And that goes like if the kids have used a towel and it's wet, just go and give it back and go and get another one. It also goes for gym towels too, guys, and ladies I as well. I use about 6 towels when I'm at the gym because I sweat so much. Unless I wipe myself off, throw it away. Obviously, you wouldn't do that in your home country at a hotel, but like here, the water's like basically free. They use reverse osmosis, so like they're gonna wash them anyway. If you're not using it, someone else is. So you might as well go and use it. And don't be afraid to, the big thing with cruising and big secret is that like you shouldn't feel guilty about doing anything. This is basically a resort on the water. And their job is to make sure you're having the best time possible. So if that means that you want to use 3 towels in a day, do it. There's no
an extra bath towel for your hair or something. You just ask.
You just ask.
Like all you do is you.
Or another thing I've seen is like if the cocktail's not right, like if you didn't want the cocktail and they done it the wrong way, just ask again. They'll remake it. It's really that here, and it's a bit hard if you're an Australian or somewhere that you're a little bit more culturally, it's not as susceptible to take advantage of service like that. Here, it's common.
They're happy to do it.
They're happy to do it. All right, so the next secret that no one really tells you about cruising, especially when you got family and little kids, is that seasickness tablets are supplied by guest services if you ask. So obviously the heavy duty medicines that you get down in the sick bay, you have to pay for them, and I've explained why you probably should do that. But if you just need seasickness tablets, you got to remember that the cruise lines want you up and upright and buying stuff, spending money. So they're going to give you free sickness tablets. If you go to them and say, oh, look, we didn't pack any seasickness tablets. Do you have, can I please have some? They'll give you some, especially if it's for kids. So they've got a range of stuff, like the cruise lines carry all different types of seasickness gear. And you don't want to ruin your trip by being seasick. So anything you can do to prevent it is the way you want to go. But that's a little tip, is that you don't need to pack seasickness tablets or anything if you really don't want to, unless there's a specific brand you want. You can just go down to guest services and go and get that stuff. And guest services is basically where you complain. So you can go to guest services and get that stuff, and it's all good.
All right, so if you're like us and you like drinking mocktails or soft drink or anything like that during the day, we would actually recommend to get the refreshment package on a Royal Caribbean. Because with a refreshment package, we also only had to buy it for 2 of us, whereas the beverage package, they wanted us to buy it for them 4 of us. So with the beverage...
It washed out to be about the same price.
Same price if we bought 2 or if we bought 4, but it was just better because we could include mocktails. Now, when we looked on the menu for the mocktails, there really was only about 5 of them, and they weren't overly exciting. We then found out, we asked the gentleman at the bar, if we could have a cocktail with no alcohol in it, and if that would be classed as a mocktail. And it is. So all you have to do again, as we've been saying the whole time, is all you have to do is ask. If you want a mocktail, but you don't want the one on the menu, you ask for a cocktail with no alcohol.
I've had about 16 pina coladas now, and I just go, can I just have a virgin pina colada? And they do it. It's under the beverage package, the refreshment package, and you're all sorted.
Yeah, and also there's a bionic bar, which is your robot bar. You can choose mocktails off of that. You can also choose cocktails and take out the alcohol on those ones as well, which is included in your refreshment package. Your refreshment package also includes a cup, a heat cup, And you can put those in all the vending machines here and you get such a wide selection. There's a ginger ale brand, there's vitamin water, there's Minute Maid, there's Coke, Fanta, Sprite, Powerade. Like, the vending machine is just huge.
And don't tell Royal Caribbean, but we just basically give those to the kids and they run around. They haven't technically paid for them, but the vending machines, they just use a scanner at the bottom, so there's no one standing by them, sort of thing. The soda fountains, there's no one standing by them. They scan the bottom of the cup to determine if you're able to put the cup in there. They don't care, you know, like the amount of soft drink they go through on the ship. Like, if one kid's running around stealing it, you know, whatever. But like, yeah, so that's what we did, was we went a refreshment package, which gives us the ability to get mocktails, and then we give the kids the cups and they go and run around and have soft drink and get hyped up on sugar. So the next secret really ties back to the fact that I think that these cruise lines really want families on board these cruise lines, and that is because pretty much every time we've gone on a cruise, we've been able to get not an upgrade, but an extra room. And that happened just on this cruise. We went to guest services, which is where you go to complain, and I explained to them that I need a place to work, and they gave us a roll-out bed which blocks the desk. So I said to them, what are we going to do? Because I booked this thinking there was a bunk. There wasn't, but I was thinking there was a bunk. They went back and said, oh, would you be... And I explicitly said to them, I'm not trying to get an upgrade on my room. I just need a solution to this. I need to be able to work while the kids are asleep. And they said, oh, actually, give us a minute. And they came back and said, would you be happy with 2 rooms instead of 1? So they gave us 2 rooms. So we paid for 1 room, but they gave us the second room, which is opposite the room that we're in. And we had the kids sleep in one, and then we sleep in the other. But effectively, we got double the amount of space, and they were happy to do it, because what most people do when they go to guest services is they ask for an upgrade in their room. Whereas, as a family, really, you don't necessarily want a room that's like nicer, because you're not going to spend much time in it anyway. You just want more space.
Yeah, you either want that extra bed, or, you know, so someone doesn't have to sleep on the couch or the rollaway because they aren't overly comfortable.
No. So we asked for that, and they were they happily obliged. It was actually quite easy to get. So it doesn't hurt to ask. Just say, look, you know, we didn't realize how small our room actually was, and I need to be up for work. Is there any chance we can get a solution to this? You know, because with our cruise, the rooms that we got were actually assigned to someone else, and I think they didn't make it on the cruise, so they were happy to give us those rooms. Whereas obviously your balconies and your suites and your junior suites, they're gobbled up, so there's no use asking for an upgrade. Whereas you're not technically asking for an upgrade, you're asking for a second room.
No, or even just a better room configuration. There might be just or one that's just a little bit bigger, maybe the bed stays in one spot, maybe you get 2 beds in 2 different areas. Like, you just want something that can give you a bit more space, because the quad shares are quite small, and you just have to ask.
And you've got to remember, you paid for them, so you might as well ask. And if they say no, then so be it. But we found that we've got really good results by just asking and explaining that, like, the room, we need more space, and they just give us more space, which is awesome, because our trip is completely different, because we have a room to ourselves. And let's say, for instance, your kids are a little bit younger, you can have 2 singles, and your kid could be sleeping in one, and you can sleep in one, and your husband can sleep in the other room with your kid as well. So, like, it works out to be better. But obviously, if we were to pay that room, we would have doubled the cost of this cruise. So it was nice to get it, and it literally took 30 seconds to ask.
All right, so the last thing we want to talk about now, everyone has gone digital. Everything is on these apps, the whole itineraries, you know, every entertainment, every excursion, whatever it is on these cruise ships, everything is on the app. However, if you're not on the app, or not everyone has a phone, or
you don't want to bring your phone with you.
You don't want to bring your phone with you, you don't want to take it out the room, your kids might want to see what's on the itinerary, but you don't want to have to give them the phone. You can actually ask your housekeeper, your room attendant, if you can get the paper itinerary. Now, obviously the paper itinerary is not going to be as up to date as what you think it might be. Something might have changed last minute, but it will give you a wide and accurate representation of what's going on during the day, instead of having to rely on the app on your phone.
So that's it, guys. That's all the secrets we've learned so far. Hopefully they're helpful. You know, the thing is with cruising as a family, that our needs are a lot different to Mavis and John, who are traveling the 75 and done 100 cruises. A lot of times we don't know a lot of the things that those people do. You know, is the cruise going to be suitable for families? You know, is it what time to get dinner? You know, they're all little questions that you have in your head. So hopefully this video has been helpful. If you do have any other tips, leave them in the comments. Help other families out by giving them a few tips and bits of advice that can make their experience better on cruises. And also make sure to subscribe, because we've got a lot of content coming out on cruises, because we've learned a lot. cruising that will help a lot of families out there make their decision easier to go on a cruise and also make their experience better when they're on there. So I'm Jimmy,
And I'm Pauline.
and we'll catch you all on the horizon.